Well, now in the newsroom, Paul Vallas, the former head of Chicago Public Schools, joining us again. So, Paul, if we could start by talking about the makeup. You know, we're voting for 10, but the majority still falls with the mayor when it comes down to it. What type of say is the voter really going to have, you know, apart from appointing one from each district, when ultimately the mayor gets to decide?
Well, really not much, not until you have a fully elected board. And the CTU structured it this way. Again, as I mentioned last time, all the board, there was a push to have all the seats up. That was before the outcome of the mayoral race. And then the minute Johnson got in, the CTU kind of hedged their bets, and so they wanted to make sure that Johnson, their candidate for mayor, would be able to maintain control of the school board until the next election. So that was by design. Clearly, the CTU has done a full court press. This is about controlling the schools, controlling most of the property taxes, and at the end of the day, getting basically a school board that's going to be a rubber stamp for the Chicago Teachers Union. And they've spent an enormous amount of money. You know, they also conveniently have school off today, meaning they can put all of their so-called red shirts out there campaigning for their candidates. And, you know, for some strange reason, it was almost impossible to find these candidates on the ballot. I think they were at almost the bottom of the ballot, you know, after the million judges that you have to work your way through. So at the end of the day, you know, look, they're masters at getting out the vote and at, in effect, undermining people's ability to vote. So it's all about getting your members out. But there has been a concerted effort to really support candidates from the community, parents, professionals, individuals who are Democrats. All Democrats who are independent of the Chicago Teachers Union. And as you know, both Johnson and the Chicago Teachers Union are polling abysmally. So certainly the opponents try to make a concerted effort to point out that they are the non-CTU candidates and they're going to make the decisions in the best interest of children.
Paul, I'll tee you up on this one, although it's probably a better question for CPS, but they've spent a lot of money on this campaign. Is that money that could have been better spent somewhere else?
Well, look, they spent a lot of money, and you know, there's a big issue with the CTU right now. They haven't released their audit, which they're required to do in the last 4 to 5 years. So you really don't know how much money they're actually spending on these campaigns. So at the end of the day, they are spending a ton of money. They are, and it's part of the reason why there's a big push to increase their membership. Look, since 2019, they've added 9,000 employees to the Chicago Public Schools. 9,000 employees. During that same period, the city eliminated 1,700 police positions. There's now one employee at the Chicago Public Schools for every 7.5 students. And there are 22,000 employees in the Chicago Public Schools who are not even teachers. In fact, there's 10,000 more non-teaching employees at the Chicago Public Schools than there are cops. So, I mean, this is a big power grab, and we're going to get another crack in November of 2026 for the remaining 10 positions, as well as the school board president. So these are important elections, critical elections. They're going to directly impact your pocketbook.
Paul, money's not just flowing in from the CTU. There are these PACs for pro-charter school political action committees that have put in more than $3 million, a lot of that going to advertising. And there are people who, while they may not support the CTU, are very skeptical about charter schools. And from the last mayoral race, when you were in there, I know you faced a lot of questions about bringing in charter schools, not investing in CPS schools. So take me through, you know, for those critics out there who are going to say, all right, that money that's coming in from those PACs is being spent in a way that I also don't necessarily agree with.
Well, first of all, you have to understand that charter schools are public schools, but they're non-union schools. And let me point out, as a matter of fact, that every charter school that the CTU has unionized, the test scores have plummeted, and some are now closing because the union does not want any competition. But charter schools are non-public schools. They're not-for-profit public schools. I'm sorry. They're not-for-profit public schools, and 55,000 children in Chicago go to charter schools. 98% of those children are Black and Latino, and 87% are poor. So for poor children in inner city neighborhoods, the charter schools offer the only alternative to their often failing schools. So the union has tried to paint the charter school movement as some privatized movement. It's not. The money follows the kids. But this is a district that spends $30,000 a child. It has one employee for every 7.5 kids. And yet only 54% of the money that goes to the schools finds its way into the local schools. A lot of that money is eaten up by the central office and the massive central office and regional office bureaucracies. So, look, funding is not an issue here. It's how the money is being allocated. And parents should have the right, if their child is going to a failing traditional public schools, to have the right to try to get into a magnet school, which the unions are trying to close, as well as a public charter school. Parents should have the right to choose the best school for their child.
Paul, we have literally about 30 seconds left before we need to get to another break. Are you still sad and sorry that you lost the election for mayor?
Oh, my wife is thrilled. My wife is absolutely thrilled.
You?
But hey, it's this is a contact sport. I've been through this. Hey, I went to Haiti 40 times and got hospitalized 3 times doing relief work, as you all know, a number of years ago. Mm-hmm. So if I survive that, I can survive just about anything.
All right. I know you're with us throughout the evening.
Yes.
We appreciate your insight, Paul. Thanks. We'll be in touch.